Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome to race number 8 of Season 9 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Dickie's 500 here at Texas Motor Speedway, as we're getting set for 42 laps of racing at one of the fastest mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule. And it should be a rather crazy affair, as we're getting closer and closer to All-Star break here in a little over a week at Oswego, and that's going to be quite the exciting event when we get there. But we still got quite a few points races to do before we get to All-Star break and the announcement for the Season 10 drivers lineup, as the field for next season's pretty much set in stone, but you have to wait until All-Star break to see who is going to be racing and who will not be racing. But anyways, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the race here tonight at Texas. Starting in the last row, Jordan Lopez and Jonathan Zorline, two guys who qualified their way in. Top 10 in the starting lineup, Scott Groverston on the pole for tonight after coming off of a huge win last week at Christmas Miracle during Christmas night. He's on the pole with Stuart Campbell starting next to him. Row 2, Jessica Sheldon, Jordan Forbes. Row 3, Daniel Voiles, Dylan Young. Row 4, Charles Belding, Arthur Xavier. And then row 5, Carson Gum and Matt McIntyre. Let's get the command to fire engines for the Dickie's 500 at Texas.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers rolling on the track for the pace lap here. But yeah, Scott Groverston, as I brought up at the onset, yeah, he's coming off of a incredible victory at Christmas Miracle back on Christmas Day, avoiding 2 wrecks and going on to have the closest finish in the history of the series, which I still am in shock even happened. Stuart Campbell, on the other hand, he has qualified for every race this season, but he's just not had the best of luck in terms of finishes. Jessica Sheldon, not had the best of luck in terms of finishes either. And then Jordan Forbes, who's been quietly working his way up the point standings despite losing us several spots. Pace car into pit road. Boogity, 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 let's go racing. Scott Groverston led the first lap, but now Jessica Sheldon's going to take over the race lead for the moment, but she's leaving a lot of bottom open for Daniel Voiles to perhaps make a move for the lead. Although Sheldon almost cleared Voiles right there entering turn 3, just wasn't enough to keep it to stick, or enough to make it stick. As now it's going to be 3 wide for the lead. Voiles in the middle, Sheldon up top, Carson Gum, a Texas boy, on the bottom, as Carson Gum actually moved up a couple of spots in the point standings after Christmas Miracle, up to 8th in the standings, he's trying his hardest to get his first win of the season, and he had the lead for a moment, but now Arthur Xavier in the 38 takes the race lead over. Arthur Xavier, despite missing 2 races, steadily in the top 30 in the standings, 27th in the points coming in, and was about 20 points ahead of 31st. William Brock, on the other hand, he has been on quite a roll as of late in terms of consistency. Picked up a victory earlier in the season up to the 6th spot in the point standings coming into the race tonight. And he's about 40 points out of the points lead, so he's not far off from the top 5 of Ashlyn Boyd, Alexander Rowe, Daniel Boyle, Zachary Fitzwater, and the points leader Michael Norman. Austin LaPlante currently holding on to the top spot. Rob Evans in the middle, but look who's coming on the bottom. Riley Henry in the 40 car. Riley Henry, who got a really good finish at Christmas Miracle back on Friday. He's still trying hard to get into the top 30 in the point standings, but he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to get up there. Caleb Kilburn now with the lead. Keith Miller Jr. to the inside. As they are just going at it, position swapping every single lap. It's almost like a restrictor play race. And the lap times are blisteringly fast. As right there you see a lot of drivers running in the high 25s. With Dylan Pote with the fastest lap currently at 25.822. Which is insane speed for this track. 3 wide possibly for the lead. Keith Miller Jr. has the spot. Rafael LeDuc wants it. Kyle Matthews, it looked like he was trying to stick his nose underneath of Rafael LeDuc to make it 3 wide, but just didn't have enough speed at that time. LeDuc leads, but Matthews to the inside, and here comes the 09 Mellow Yellow Chevy of Kyle Matthews. And Matthews actually does lead that lap. And speaking of when I was talking about the top 5 in the point standings, here comes second in points, Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater, despite missing 1 race, which was the second race of the season, and I forget where that was, but Fitzwater only missed 1 race this season, but yet second in the standings and with the best average finish of an 8.67, despite having perhaps the worst, or no, he has the second worst average starting position at a 29.17. He still just works his way through the field and gets up to the front somehow, some way. And speaking of being up at the front, he now leads here at Texas. Trying to go for win number 2 this season and hopes to get into the points lead. Ashlyn Boyd in the 51 trying to get higher in the standings. Came into this race 5th in the points, looking for his second win of the season. But look at Dylan Jacobs, who's trying to maintain top 30 in the standings, but also try to get back to his winning ways. Oh man, they were almost 4 wide for a moment there, and that could have been bad. But Dylan Jacobs now up at the front, and here comes Jordan Lopez, and Jordan Lopez... Wow, Jordan Lopez has just had the worst luck in terms of qualifying. This is only his 3rd start this season. And the only other driver who has not had very many starts this season is Adam Garcia, and Adam Garcia has only had 2 starts, and the caution is out. Caution flag is out. Oh, Arthur Xavier with some big-time damage, like pretty much mangled on the sides and the rear. Carson Gum with damage. Rob Evans with a buckle on his hood, so it looked like perhaps a 3-4 car incident here in turn 3, it looks like. So something had to have gone down big time in turns 3 and 4. But it looks like everybody's coming in the pit road, so we're going to go to the pit lane camera and watch to see who's going to come out of the pits first. So yeah, it looks like everybody came into pit road. Every single one of these drivers came into pit road. So we're going to see who is going to come out as the leader. And it looks like Dylan Jacobs is going to come out first. Then it looks like it's going to be Jordan Forbes. Then Zachary Fitzwater, Seth Cole, and Kyle Matthews. Looks like that'll be your top 5 when we go back to Green Flag Racing. So with all that said and done, let's take a look at the replay to see what brought the caution out for the first time tonight here at Texas. Well, here's a look at it. So they were 4 wide coming off of turn 2, and it looks like Alexander Rowe just ends up being sandwiched between Arthur Xavier and Jesse Turner. As you're going to see, he just gets sandwiched between the two, turns Arthur Xavier around. Luckily, nobody on the bottom lane hit him, but then when the 38 comes up the track, he collects Jesse Turner, Carson Gum, and Rob Evans involved. But luckily, minor damage for pretty much all these drivers, so I don't expect to see anybody retire from the race, but I do got a feeling the 38 especially is going to be off the pace, maybe the 44. The 60 and the 17 are going to be questionable, but very minor multi-car incident here in turn 3 to bring the caution out. Let's take you to the restart here at Texas. Well, no drivers are out of the race, but we got a car 2 laps down somewhere, and that's Alyssa Drayson, who is stuck on pit road, and man, that's going to cost her a lot of points, and it might force her out of the top 30 possibly. So it's just been a tough few weeks for that 87 car. But anyways, Dylan Jacobs currently leads the race here at Texas. Second is Jordan Lopez. Third, Zachary Fitzwater. Fourth, Seth Cole. Fifth, Kyle Matthews. Sixth is Ashlyn Boyd. Seventh, Jonathan Zorline. 8th, Dylan Poteet. 9th, Quentin Moore. 10th is Keith Miller Jr. 11th is Caleb Kilburn. 12th, Scott Groverston. 13th, Stuart Campbell. 14th, Joey Parkhill. 15th, Mitchell Collins. 16th, Jordan Forbes. 17th, Henry Sanford. 18th, James Qualls. 19th, Patrick Smith. 20th, William Brock. Rest of the top 30 is Daniel Voiles, Jessica Sheldon, Ryan Acosta, Riley Henry, Michael Norman, Austin LaPlante, Raphael Leduc, Daniel Bouchard, Matt McIntyre, and Jay Jefferson. Back to green flag racing here at Texas. Dylan Jacobs off to a really good jump on that restart. A little bit of a gap between himself and the 9 of Jordan Lopez. Looking at the fastest lap so far, and still Poteet with that 25.822. And to think we're not even at the halfway point of the race just yet, and already we've had a caution come out. But Dylan Jacobs continuing to lead, but look at Ashlyn Boyd come through like a bat out of hell, up to second, and now he could have momentum to run the bottom to make a move for the lead underneath the 41. A lot of unique contenders up here at the front of the field right now. Ashlyn Boyd trying to go for win number 2 this season, to be the first driver this season to get more than 1 win already. And Boyd led that lap, but here comes Seth Cole, and Seth Cole, the defending series champion, hasn't had a very good start to the season. 22nd in the point standings with an average finish of 24th. He's definitely looking to try and rebound in hopes that he can go for a 2nd straight championship. But Ashlyn Boyd really fast on the racetrack, and his teammate Keith Miller Jr. up to 3rd. And the only driver from their team that's not in the field is Henry Durand, as he failed to qualify for the race tonight. But other than that, 2 of the 3 drivers for Toyota Racing Development are in this race and are in the top 3. And now they have caught Alyssa Drayson, who's finally out of pit road, but let's keep an eye on her, as I think, yeah, she has a slight buckle on the front end of her machine. So I do think she might have made contact with somebody on pit road, and that's why she's got that slight buckle on the front end and why she's holding up everybody and slower than everybody else. So tough break for the 87 car, as she, 3 laps down, maybe 4 laps down once scoring gets updated. But yeah, she's, like I said, had a rough couple of races as of late. Fell from 5th in points down to 24th coming in after everything that's gone down, but maybe she can rebound. We'll find out as the races come along. We're past halfway now, and the top two have broken away from the rest of the field by a little bit because of the 87. Seth Cole and Ashland Boyd, and now it's going to be side by side off of turn 4 for the lead between these two. And the caution is out again. Oh, Dylan Jacobs involved in whatever this was. Looks like he must have had a hard crash. Daniel Voiles actually with damage, so it looks like it was something... Ooh, and it was right on the backstretch going into turn 3 once again. Seems to be the trouble spot of this race, is the backstretch going into turn 3, it seems. But nobody's coming into pit road this time, so everybody stays out. Ashland Boyd leads the race. Let's take a look at the replay to see what brought the caution out for the second time tonight here at Texas. Well, here's a look at it. So very similar to the first caution. They were 4 wide coming off of turn 2 yet again. It's Keith Miller Jr., Zachary Fitzwater, Dylan Jacobs, and Daniel Voiles. And it looks like Voiles is trying to make the corner, gets tight, but leans up into Dylan Jacobs, and they both go for pretty hard hits into the inside wall, which is concrete. No safer barrier down there. And immediately the engine of the 41 car explodes, and then he gets hit in the driver's door a little bit by the 26 of Daniel Voiles. And Voiles nearly tagged the 8 of Stephen Kalan, but somehow, someway avoids causing further damage, and luckily everybody that was behind this avoided the 41 and did not hit him. So we had a 2-car incident that resulted in one of them with an exploded engine. So tough break for the 41 of Dylan Jacobs, and this could knock him out of the top 30 once again as former series champion. Not really off to a good start here in Season 8, but let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Texas. Well, we jumped ahead to Green Flag Racing because of a technical error on the game, but yeah, officially out of the race is Dylan Jacobs, so he will not be getting points as, yeah, I made a big error as I accidentally hit the wrong button. So we skipped ahead a little bit to lap 30 now as Ashland Boyd's still leading the way, so I believe, unless somebody else passes him and then leads the rest of the race, I think the 51's going to get the most laps led bonus points for the night. But as we watch all this go down, James Qualls has been working his way up through the field quietly. We haven't talked about him all night long. Up to second he goes. Patrick Smith is up here in the mix, and then Caleb Kilburn. Look at the battle of the yellow cars. Mitchell Collins, Jordan Forbes, Riley Henry all right there together up here in the top 10. Riley Henry trying to get up higher in the field, up to 4th, trying to use the middle lane to make it ahead, but Daniel Bouchard trying to use the bottom, but Riley Henry actually did a good thing of going down to block that inside line for himself. Side by side for the lead as we're coming to 10 laps to go here in just a moment. James Qualls to the inside of Ashland Boyd for the lead. But don't forget about Caleb Kilburn in that 99 car. He's moved up to 10th in the standings after gaining a little bit of momentum. He's one to go for win number 1 of Season 9. But regardless, Caleb Kilburn in that 99 to the inside of James Qualls as he's getting a big push from Riley Henry in the 40, and Riley trying to get his first career victory in the Marvel Studios Cup Series, and also to get the second win of the season for Shadow Cult Racing. Go 2 in a row for Shadow Cult, as Scott Groverston, remember, won back on Friday at Christmas Miracle. And Riley Henry is Scott Groverston's teammate. Speaking of Groverston, he's actually not far off. He's in the top 10 now. I believe 8th currently, as positions continue to shuffle around. But now they have caught the very slow machine of Daniel Voiles, and Riley Henry's going to get held up for a moment, as the top 4 went right on by. Daniel Bouchard, Dylan Young, Mitchell Collins, Scott Groverston up here in the top 5 now, pulling away from 5th place being Riley Henry as a result of Daniel Voiles holding up everybody, and Ashland Boyd is going to lose a ton of ground. One of the dominant cars of the night may not be dominant anymore and will probably not get a chance to win, as he's still getting held up by that 26 car. Caleb Kilburn, the same thing. Jordan Forbes, Jay Jefferson all got held up as a result of being near the 26 car. But Dylan Young now leads here at Texas, but Scott Groverston to the inside as it's now 6 laps to go. Groverston perhaps trying to go for his 2nd straight victory here in the season. Remember, again, winning at Christmas Miracle, trying to go for win number 2 for Shadow Call Racing, but also 2nd straight victory of his career. Or not a second, or not of his career, but of the season, I should say. And he's got a little bit of a gap between himself and 2nd place Mitchell Collins, as James Qualls trying to rally on back and try and get underneath of Collins for the 2nd spot, but Collins trying to hold off that charging number 70. But Qualls now has the momentum on the inside to make the move stick this time. But they are starting to lose ground to the 42, as the 42 has a steady pace going over 2nd and on back. 3 laps to go here at Texas. Margin less than 0.2 of a second. Although Qualls is coming up pretty fast. That 70 car has been strong here in the final 12 laps. And now he's air to the back bumper, now going to make the move to the inside. James Qualls going to... Can he clear Groverston off of 4? He does. James Qualls up to 2nd with 2 laps to go. Although Groverston trying to rally on back. The 42, don't count him out. But also we got a couple other contenders who could sneak their way. Mitchell Collins being one of them. Keith Miller Jr. being another. Anything is possible, and now Groverston got the momentum on the inside as we're coming to the white flag. White flag is out here at Texas. Oh, but they are catching slower cars, but it's going to be a matter of who's going to prevail ahead. Groverston has the lead for now, but they're getting held up by that 38. Groverston now going to get a little bit of an advantage. Going into 3, holding off everybody else. He just got to block everybody off of 4, and he's going to get 2 straight victories. Coming out of turn 4, checkered flag waving, 2nd straight win. Scott Groverston wins the Dickies 500 at Texas. What a momentum streak going for that 42 team. They won on Christmas Day this past Friday in the previous race in the closest finish in the history of the series. Comes back here at Texas and gets his 2nd straight win. Not just for himself, but for the team of Shadow Call Racing. Unbelievable performance by the 42, and I expect they're going to be top 5 in the point standings. No question about it. But let's look at the rest of the results. Mitchell Collins gets his best career finish so far, finishing 2nd. This will, I think, put him into the top 10 in the point standings once again. Keith Miller Jr., great run in the 3rd position, as this is his first top 5 of the season. Jordan Lopez, despite his lack of making races, finally gets a top 5/top 10 finish, finishing in 4th. And then Rafael Leduc rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Jonathan Zorleen with a great run in the 6th position. This could possibly put him back in the top 30 in the standings. Dylan Young with a great run in 7th. Melissa Alexander, solid performance in the 8th spot. James Qualls came on strong at the end with momentum on his side, but gets a top 10 in 9th. And then rounding out the top 10 in 10th was Patrick Smith. Then there is your top 20, top 30, and the bottom 5 for this week were Arthur Xavier, Carson Gum, Daniel Voiles, Alyssa Drayson, and Dylan Jacobs. Well, that does it for our coverage here tonight at Texas. As you will see in a moment, Scott Groverston do another victory burnout. Hopefully a better one than he had at Christmas Miracle. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Here is the burnout, as well as the point standings heading into our next race on Wednesday. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.